do something that some of you guys are going to think is a little bit bizarre, but I do have my reasons. Here in Australia, I've got to get a rego inspection every year to renew my registration. That's generally a safety inspection, and they just check lights, blinkers, stop lights, and just walk around the car. They check tyres. I've got the front left basically worn out. My KM3's it's had it. So I need to get at least 2 new tyres. I'm running at 285/70/17 currently, and I'm off to buy a set of 265/70/17s. Stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Daryl and welcome to the channel. Now, I may have just lost my mind. I'm off to have a set of 265/70/17 tyres put on this, replacing the 285/70 KM3s. Yeah. There's reasons. The main one is at the moment there's a big police presence happening in the country, and it's been going on for the past 12 months. Targeting four-wheel drives. There's a lot of four-wheel drives, and they're mainly dual cabs that are running 35s and that, and they look awesome. But it's just cop bait, and I just don't need the drama. When I had the 265s on, I never got booked. I was actually pulled over and the car was gone over once, and the guy actually took a lot of notice of the tyres. He knows what he's talking about because he has defected me a couple of times going up the coast, because in his words, we do our job because the police up and down the coast don't. So anyway, whatever the reason, with the 265s, he actually looked at them and said, oh, you'll probably be okay with those. With the 285s, he defected me. And yes, the 285s did hang out the guards a little bit more, so he probably had his reasons. However, I don't want the dramas, but they look at the size. They don't look at the dimensions, they just look at size. And they've got a little app I hear nowadays where they just enter the size in that tells them how different it is from the OEM tyre. I think we're allowed about 2 inches in diameter larger than standard. But the KM3s run small. I don't mind it. You know, a lot of guys complain that KM3s run small to what they are. They're not a true 33 or 35. Doesn't matter. Look at the specs. Buy based on the specs, not on the tyre size. That's how I generally buy tyres. So I've looked at the specs of the KM3s. I've looked at the specs of Maxxis RAZR MTs and Nitto. I think they're trail grabbers. I'll have to check on that, and I'll put it down below if I'm wrong. I could be. I think they're trail grabbers. So both are a larger size than what the actual size on the sidewall says. Whether that's a truer size or not, it doesn't matter to me. All I know is that I'm back to a 265 where more than likely I won't get picked on as much. However, when I look at the specs, both Trail Grabber and Maxxis RAZR are nearly the same width as the 285 Booth Goodrich's. They are smaller in diameter than the 285s, but they're somewhere in between the 265 and 285 Booth Goodrich. So whilst I'm going to a smaller tyre, it's not that much smaller. I'm sort of somewhere in between. So I'm pretty happy with that. But the proof will be in the pudding. The guys rung me. I've got 5 minutes to get there because they need an hour to fit them before lunch. Let's get them fitted, have a look at what they're like, and we can go into the specs and everything after that. So we're out of there now. That took half an hour. I've got to be happy with that. Tyre Power at Walkham Hills in Sydney. Awesome guys. It was just efficient. There was no stuffing around. Ordered them yesterday afternoon. They were here at 10 AM this morning. They rang me, booked me in for 11, and by 11:30 or just after that, I was driving out of the place. Got to be happy with that. What's it like? Well, every time you get new tyres, it's the best time in the world. I love buying new tyres. I'll be quite open with it. I just have a thing about tyres. I love the smell. I love the look of them, of some tyres. It's very, But anyway, that's my bent. But when I went from 32s to 33s, it did appear that I'd lost some of the nimbleness of the car, and the vehicle did feel heavier. And I did a video on it, I'll link to it up here, you can go and see that. But going back to the 32s from the 33s, that nimbleness is now back. The vehicle does seem a little bit lighter. There's not a lot in it, but you can tell. The vehicle seems a little bit more better planted on the road. I was worried because I've had the gearing done in the diffs to 4.56s, and that's a fairly good gearing for, you know, around a 33-inch tyre. Can't really tell that much difference on the 32s, and I thought I may be able to tell a bit of a difference. If there is a difference, there ain't much. So really happy with that. It'll be interesting to see if it makes a difference in my fuel economy. But at this point of time, yeah, I've got the size tyre. So if the cops look at the tyre, let's hope they just let me go and they don't defect me. It's still a reasonable size tyre. So we'll go into that in a moment when we look at the specs of the 3 different tyres I was looking at. But it still looks fine on the vehicle. It doesn't protrude from the flares, which is a problem out here. If your sidewall's sticking out, the police have a habit of pulling you over and defecting you. Yeah, the nanny state. You would think living in Sydney, Australia, it would be, you know, peace, love and goodness, but no, we do live in a nanny state, unfortunately. And if you're a car enthusiast, you are, you know, the number one hated person around, apart from middle-aged white 50-year-old males, which is me. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with this at the moment. Of course, they've got too much pressure in them. Of course, they're brand new, so you're not seeing any bad points about them at the moment. It's riding a little bit hard because they've got too much pressure in them. But I'll do the pressures. I've got to go to work. When I leave work and go home, I'll do the pressures. We'll have a look at how they compare to what I had on, and we'll have a look at the 3 different sizes of tyre. What have I bought? I've bought a set of Maxxis RAZR MT 772s. There's a reason for that. It's all in the specs. I don't mind the look of it. It could be, and I've said it before, I've had KM2s, KM3s and mud terrains, the original mud terrains. I've had various versions of them and sizes and sets, and I've tried different things and always come back. I've tried Mickey Thompson's, I've tried Yokohama's, I've tried Bridgestones, and I've always come back to the BF Goodrich's because they just do what they say. Will this be one of those times? I don't know. But it's worth a try. There's those Maxxis, there's Nitto trail grabbers, and of course the KM3s. They're the genre of tyre that I quite like. It'll be interesting to see how they go. But let's have a look at the specs of these and why I've gone this way. Now let's look at some specs for the moment. The KM3s, the 265/70 is 804 in diameter, 271 millimeters in width and 26.4 in weight. The 285/70-17, which I've replaced these with, were 833 millimeters in diameter, 292 millimeters in width and 30.4 kilos in weight. Now the Maxxis RAZR MTs in a 265 were 809 millimeters in diameter, 282 millimeters in width and 25.8 kilos in weight. And the Nitto trail grabbers in a 265/70, 812 millimeters in diameter, 280 millimeters in width and 27.57 kilos in weight. You can see that the Maxxis and the Nitto are both a larger, slightly larger tyre in the 265/70 than the KM3.
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, seal my greed. That's how I get it, success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous, down wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank, I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze, the roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag, I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag, I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business.
So looking at all those specs, I've decided to go with the Maxxis RAZR. They're the lightest tyre of the lot, and I wanted to see what the differences were. Why didn't I go the Nittos? The Nittos are quite a heavy tyre, and looking at them, they're quite a square-shouldered tyre. And I just like the look of the Maxxis over the Nittos. That's what it came down to, that and weight. So it'll be interesting to see how these go. But at the moment, I'm relatively happy with them. Now, I've had these on for a few days now, and the more I drive it, the more I like it. It's lighter, it's more nimble, it just feels a much nicer vehicle to drive. I'm currently running a 3/4 inch spacer in the back of this, and I may take that out and put in a 1/2 inch spacer, or just take it out completely and see what it looks like. Because you can visually see there's a little bit more space here. But overall, really happy with the choice so far. As I keep saying though, new tyres, they all feel great. It'll be interesting to see how they are thousands of kilometres down the track. So for today, that's it. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.